once again, and welcome back to Sperryndipity Travel. If Bali has been calling your name, you're not alone. This topic has been trending all over social media and even showing up hot on the Google Trends. So people everywhere are searching for what it's like to visit Bali in 2025, and we've got you covered. In today's episode, we're diving into everything you need to know before heading to Bali this April, what the weather's like, what the crowds are going to be like, how much it really costs to travel or live there, and those must-know safety tips you don't want to miss. We're breaking down the tourist traps, sharing real talk scooter safety, and giving you locals' favorite spots from cultural vibes. So whether you're planning, daydreaming, or just love to travel, let's jump into what makes Bali such a buzzworthy destination right now.
Welcome to this deep dive into your sources on Bali travel in 2025. You've provided a really interesting mix, some recent YouTube perspectives, and also some up-to-the-minute news articles.
Yeah, that was good.
Our aim really is to pull out the essential information, help you plan a potential trip, or maybe just satisfy your curiosity about what's happening in Bali right now. It's always so popular.
And what's particularly interesting here, I think, is seeing those personal, on-the-ground experiences from the video bloggers alongside the broader trends and, well, the real-time events discussed in the news.
Exactly.
It gives us a really comprehensive picture of what's happening right now.
Absolutely. We've got these recent YouTube accounts, one from Paradise Adventures. They spent 4 months exploring Bali and Nusa Penida, sharing a ton of practical tips, cost breakdowns, really detailed stuff.
4 months, wow.
Yeah. And then there's Brennan Hill, who focused just on a single day of expenses in the Seminyak area. Kind of a different angle.
Okay, like a mic review.
Right. And then on the news front, we have articles from The Star reporting on Indonesia's, pretty significant tourism growth and how Bali's still the main draw.
Still number one, huh?
Seems like it. And crucial updates from the Bali Sun about holiday travel forecasts and traffic management, especially with the Lebaran Eid al-Fitr holidays happening, right now in April.
It's fascinating how those individual experiences, the vlogs, they really illustrate the bigger trends. Like when they talk about crowds and traffic,
Yeah.
you can directly connect that to the tourism boom numbers and the public holiday congestion that the news is highlighting. It all fits together.
Okay, so let's unpack this, starting right from arrival. One of the Paradise Adventures vloggers immediately advises you to just bypass the SIM card sellers at the airport.
Ooh, good tip.
Yeah. They found much better deals, apparently, at local vendors. They mentioned Happy Cell in Canggu specifically as an example. Sounds like a smart way to save a bit of cash right off the bat.
That totally aligns with a lot of general travel advice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Airport kiosks, they often have higher prices just because it's convenient.
Convenience tax.
Exactly. It's a good reminder that, local providers frequently offer much better value if you just look around a little.
They also strongly suggested pre-booking your airport transfer. Using services like Klook, they highlighted you could easily overpay if you just grab a taxi when you land.
Yeah, the post-flight haze negotiation.
Yeah.
Never ideal.
Right. And interestingly, they even managed to get a discount code Paradise Adventures for tours booked through Klook, though. Not for the transfers themselves. Still, every little saving counts, yeah.
Indeed. Pre-arranging transport, it doesn't just give you price certainty. It also saves you the potential stress, of haggling after a long flight. And that discount code is a nice little perk if you're thinking about excursions anyway.
And a really important heads up about money changers, apparently. Scams can be quite prevalent in Bali.
Oh, really? Still?
Seems so. The blogger recommends sticking to ATMs and maybe using travel-friendly accounts like Wise for, more favorable exchange rates and avoiding those hidden fees.
That's crucial information for managing your budget effectively.
Yeah.
Unfavorable rates and, dishonest practices at some exchange places can really add up. Using reliable ATMs and travel cards, it generally gives you more transparency and just better rates overall.
Okay, let's move on to getting around once you've actually settled in. The sources present a bit of a dichotomy when it comes to transport. Renting a motorbike is mentioned. It's budget-friendly, apparently.
The classic Bali image, right?
Exactly. But there are some significant safety concerns to consider. High accident rates, inexperienced riders, which, could easily include tourists, and less than ideal road conditions are all factors.
Well, what's really interesting there is that push-pull. Between the desire for that feeling of freedom and the affordability a motorbike offers, and then the very real safety risks involved. And the vlogger makes a really critical point about travel insurance. It might not cover motorbike accidents unless you have a valid motorcycle license from your home country. That's a detail I think many travelers might overlook.
Definitely something to keep front of mind. So instead of motorbikes, the vloggers suggest ride-hailing apps like Grab and Gojek. They see them as generally safer and still pretty affordable alternatives.
Uh-huh.
They noted Grab often seems to have slightly lower prices, but Gojek is the preferred local Indonesian app, so maybe worth comparing both, depending on where you are.
This just reflects the global trend, doesn't it? Ride-sharing services providing convenient and often cost-effective transport in so many places. And having two main players like Grab and Gojek, well, that competition can lead to better pricing, which is good for the traveler.
For sure. Now, for covering longer distances, you've got the option of hiring private drivers. That can come with the added benefit of local insights, maybe recommendations.
Like a guide, almost.
Yeah, exactly. But naturally, that will be a more significant expense. And across all the sources, traffic. It's repeatedly highlighted as a major issue, particularly in the popular tourist areas and especially during public holidays.
And if we link this back to the news articles, particularly the one from the Bali Sun about the Lebaran holiday,
Yeah.
those warnings about traffic really resonate.
Yeah.
They're specifically predicting the most congested days and advising travelers to factor in extra travel time, especially heading to key transport hubs like the airport or the ports.
So with all that in mind about getting around,
Yeah.
where should you consider going, or maybe perhaps avoiding? The sources paint a picture of quite different atmospheres in Bali's various regions.
Right.
The southern areas like Seminyak and Canggu are described by the Paradise Adventures blogger as quite over-touristy and heavily focused on cheap bintangs and partying. Maybe not the authentic Balinese experience some might be looking for.
Well, this really underscores the impact of, concentrated tourism in certain spots. While those regions offer lively nightlife and loads of services for tourists, they can sometimes feel less connected to the unique local culture and, frankly, the natural beauty that often draws people to Bali in the first place.
On the other hand, Ubud, it's consistently portrayed as the cultural heart of Bali, with its stunning rice paddies and a more genuine connection to Balinese traditions and cuisine.
The classic eat, pray, love vibe.
Kind of. The bloggers specifically recommended warung kayana for ribs and encouraged trying the local dish babi guling, which, for those who don't know, is Balinese suckling pig.
Sounds delicious.
Ubud's reputation as a cultural hub is definitely well-deserved. Its focus on arts, spirituality, traditional food. It offers a really distinct experience. It appeals to travelers looking for something maybe more enriching and perhaps a bit less hectic than the southern beach areas.
Then you have Munduk and the northern region. These sound like a welcome escape from the crowds, actually.
Yep. Yeah, they're highlighted for breathtaking waterfalls. The sources mention Melanting, Red Coral, Golden Valley, Sea Kumpul, Fiji. Quite a list. Plus dolphin watching in Lovina, and just generally a much more relaxed, less crowded atmosphere. This sounds like where you might find some real hidden gems.
This really highlights the diversity Bali offers, doesn't it? By venturing beyond those well-trodden paths in the south, you can discover less developed areas with just incredible natural beauty and a much more tranquil pace of life. The appeal of fewer crowds is definitely a significant draw for many people.
And we can't forget Nusa Penida, which boasts those incredibly dramatic, postcard-perfect landscapes. Killing King Beach, Diamond Beach, Thousand Island Viewpoint. You've seen the pictures.
Oh, absolutely. Instagram gold.
Totally. However, the beauty comes with its own set of challenges. Difficult access in some areas, unfortunately some issues with pollution, and really strong undercurrents that make swimming dangerous on some of those iconic beaches.
The reality check.
Yeah. They did mention ATU Beach as a safer swimming option there, though, so not all bad news.
Nusa Penida's increasing popularity has, unfortunately, brought some of those common challenges you see with mass tourism, like strain on infrastructure and environmental concerns. And those warnings about strong undercurrents are absolutely critical for safety. Those beaches look stunning, but they can be deceptively dangerous for swimming.
Right. Now let's get down to the practicalities.
Yeah.
Costs. One entire YouTube video from Brennan Hill details a single day's expenses in Seminyak. Just to give a few examples.
Okay.
A Starbucks latte was around $9 Australian.
Wow. Okay. Pricey coffee.
Yeah. A haircut and beard trim cost about $15 AUD. A steak special was $10.90 AUD, and a fancy ice cream set them back $4.10 AUD. So it gives you a snapshot, of daily expenses you might hit in a tourist-heavy area.
These specific examples provide really tangible data points for anyone trying to budget.
Yeah.
And yeah, while Seminyak is likely on the higher end of the cost spectrum in Bali, having those benchmarks is really useful, especially when you compare them to what you might spend back home.
The Paradise Adventures vloggers also provided a more comprehensive monthly cost breakdown for a couple. It totaled around 22 million Indonesian rupiah.
Okay, roughly what's that in, say, US dollars?
Yeah.
Maybe around $1,400, $1,500. Need to check the latest rate.
Something like that, yeah. And they estimated a solo traveler might spend around 16 million rupiah per month. This figure covered a whole range of expenses: transport, medication, groceries, food and drinks, activities, visas, mobile phone costs, accommodation, across various locations too.
That broader monthly figure gives a much better sense of the overall cost of living or traveling in Bali for a longer period. It really highlights how your expenses can vary wildly depending on your travel style, accommodation choices, activities.
And speaking of accommodation, the price range is just incredibly wide. From really budget-friendly hostels like $10 AUD a night
Wow.
to luxurious resorts that can cost hundreds or even, thousands of dollars per night. The general advice across the sources seems to be book your accommodation well in advance, especially if you're planning to travel outside of peak seasons, as that's when you're likely to find the best deals.
The sheer variety of options means Bali can cater to a really diverse range of budgets. Planning ahead, booking early, it definitely gives you more choices and can often lead to significant cost savings. Standard travel wisdom, really.
Beyond the financial aspects, safety and health are, of course, absolutely paramount. We've already talked about the risks with motorbike accidents.
Right.
But another common concern is Bali belly, that familiar term for, traveler's diarrhea or food poisoning. The advice here is pretty standard. Stick to bottled water. Maybe be cautious about ice in drinks, especially from places that don't look super reliable.
These are generally wise precautions to take basically anywhere you travel, with different hygiene standards, right?
Right.
Always better to err on the side of caution with food and drink.
Yeah. Now, more worryingly, there's been a significant increase in reported cases of dengue fever in Indonesia recently.
Oof, yeah, that's serious.
So the consistent use of insect repellent is absolutely essential. You really need to protect yourself. And this was a bit surprising to see mentioned, but the sources also noted that NTDs are a relatively common infection in tourist areas, really emphasizing the importance of practicing safe sex.
The rise in dengue is a significant public health issue in many tropical regions, so that advice on repellent is vital. Use it regularly, diligently. And the mention of STDs, while maybe unexpected in this context, highlights an important health risk to be aware of in tourist destinations globally. It's not specific to Bali, but good to remember.
Then there's the somewhat unpleasant topic of beach pollution. Apparently, tests have shown significant levels of E. coli contamination in popular beach areas like Seminyak and Canggu.
Ugh, really, that's not great.
Not exactly the idyllic swimming conditions you might be picturing. And again, those strong undercurrents on beaches like Nusa Dua and Kelangking pose a genuine safety risk for swimmers. It's not just about cleanliness.
The environmental impact of tourism is an increasing concern worldwide, and Bali, unfortunately, isn't immune. Beach pollution can really detract from the natural beauty and, more importantly, can pose actual health risks. And yeah, those warnings about currents are crucial. Don't underestimate the ocean.
Now, with April 2025 well underway, we really need to address the current situation with public holidays. The Lebaran Eid al-Fitr traditional holidays are having a significant impact right now.
Okay, yeah, the timing.
Operation Ketupat Agung 2025 is in effect until April 8th. That means an increased presence of traffic police, heightened security at key tourist spots, transport hubs like Sanur Port for the Nusa Islands Bali Airport, Gilimanuk Harbor for ferries to Java.
So basically everywhere important.
Pretty much. Major traffic congestion is anticipated, particularly around April 6th as people travel outbound for the holiday. If you're in Bali during this period, you definitely need to factor in extra travel time for, well, everything.
That's very timely and important info for anyone traveling there now or in the next few days. Be prepared for delays, longer travel times. It's good the authorities are taking measures, but yeah, expect things to be slower.
And for context, ketupat refers to a type of rice dumpling traditionally eaten during Eid, so the operation name has cultural significance.
Ah, interesting detail.
Also, the Balinese New Year, Nyopi, is mentioned in the sources. Even though it doesn't fall in April this year, it's really important to be aware of it for future trips.
Right, the day of silence.
Exactly. It's a unique day of silence in Bali with very strict rules. If you happen to be there during Nyepi, you literally have to stay indoors, observe the quiet. It's a very, very different experience. No flights, no going out.
Napi is a truly unique and significant cultural event. Understanding and respecting the traditions associated with it is absolutely essential for any visitor who might be there at that time. You can't just ignore it.
Finally, let's just touch on cultural considerations more broadly. The sources really emphasize that respecting local customs is key to a positive experience.
Absolutely fundamental.
This includes dressing modestly, particularly when visiting temples, being mindful of the little offerings konongsari you see placed on the ground everywhere.
Don't step on them.
Right. And just generally being aware of potential disruptions due to public holidays and local ceremonies, which happen quite often. Ubud is again highlighted as the cultural heart, offering richer experiences in this regard. And you'll see lots of small local Indonesian eateries, these are called warungs, offering a taste of true Balinese food.
Engaging with and showing respect for the local culture. It doesn't just enrich your own trip, it also fosters more positive interactions with the local community. Being mindful of customs is just a basic aspect of responsible tourism, really.
So zooming out to get that broader perspective again, the news tells us Indonesia saw a big jump in tourism last year, close to 20%. And Bali, still the primary gateway, welcoming a massive 6.3 million arrivals.
Wow.
Which is essentially back to the pre-pandemic levels of 2019. Despite efforts by the Indonesian government to promote other destinations, Bali's popularity clearly remains incredibly strong.
That really confirms Bali's enduring appeal as a top global destination. The fact that visitor numbers are rebounding so strongly back to pre-pandemic levels, it speaks volumes about its continued draw, even considering some of the challenges we've just discussed.
So having taken this deep dive into all these sources, what are some of the key things that stand out to you? Maybe the stark contrast between the lively, sometimes chaotic south and the more tranquil, culturally rich central and northern parts.
That's definitely one.
Or perhaps those detailed cost breakdowns, giving a much clearer idea of budgeting.
Yeah, those are useful. But what really strikes me is that underlying theme of Instagram versus reality that one of the vloggers mentioned.
Yeah.
The often shared, idyllic images don't always fully represent the reality on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
The traffic, the potential scams, the health things, the environmental concerns. It's a powerful reminder, I think, of the importance of looking beyond the perfect pictures and actually doing your research.
Absolutely. It's clear that while Bali offers incredible beauty and just a huge array of experiences, going there informed and prepared is absolutely essential for a rewarding trip.
Totally.
The consistent advice to venture beyond the main tourist hubs, really explore the local food scene, try those warungs, be respectful of cultural nuances, and prioritize your health and safety. That seems like the recipe for a truly memorable and positive experience.
Agreed.
So whether you're actively planning a trip for 2025, or maybe you simply wanted to learn more, we hope this deep dive has provided you with some valuable and perhaps even surprising insights.
And the final thought, maybe something for you, the listener, to consider is this. With Bali's ongoing significant tourism boom and all the challenges that come with it, how do you think the island can best navigate the path forward? To balance the very real economic benefits of tourism with the critical need to preserve its unique, vibrant culture and its stunningly beautiful environment for future generations. It's a complex question, right? It extends beyond just individual travel plans and really speaks to the long-term sustainability of this beloved destination. Something to mull over.
All right, thank you so much for tuning in on this Bali breakdown with us. We hope this episode helped you feel a little more prepared and a lot more excited for your trip to the island of gods. Have you ever been to Bali before? Got tips, favorite spots, or questions we didn't cover? Drop us a comment. We love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Sperryndipity Travel for your travel tips, updates, and inspiration. Until next time, stay curious, keep exploring, and like always, life is in session. So why not vlog it? See ya.